Good morning. We start today's seminar. Today's theme is Work Progress Report. Today's presentators are Watanabe-kun, Setsu-san, Oscar-san, and just our members. First presentator is Watanabe-kun. So please start your presentation.
Good morning, everyone. Today I would like to talk about progress reports. First, overview. First, understanding of the present and future situation, and investigating the problem. And finally, introduction of solution. Now start. First, this graph shows the rate of population. This ball graph shows population. This purple line shows 65 and over age. Green shows 55, 64 age. And red shows 0, 14 age number. This shows the rate of 64 age. The rate, people rate. Blue line shows the rate of 55 and over people rate. Increasing and decrease. So the burden of population is 2005 young age 55 64 age the people. This shows elderly people. 2005 3.8 2016 1.9 increasing burden of gap. Second, the cost of social security. This shows year. But graph は円です。Increase. Second, investigating the problem. The aging of our population of the elderly in each areas. Each area's population. Tokyo area 28%, and Osaka area 14%, and Nagoya area 9%, and others 49%. Over half percent in 3 urban area live. This graph shows growth rate of elderly in each prefecture. Saitama number 1, second 千葉、神奈川、愛知、大阪、東京、include 3 areas or rank 括弧の中ランク、average other prefecture shows. They are caused by 1995, mass employee moved to urban. Second factor is the enrichment of medical technology of urban.
Could you give me the definition of growth rate? Growth rate. Definition of growth rate. How to calculate it?
債務省統計局のデータを
だからグロースレートって何？
2005
いや、それは分かったからさ。80だよ、だから。例えば。何が80なの？
1.8 ってことです。増加率。なので。
何の増加率
？2005年の人数、2015年の人数割る2005年の人数です。
じゃあ人口増加率ね。
人口増加率です。2015年の人数を2005年の人数で割ってます。
Maybe at the means over 65? Okay?
Over
65?
60
or no?
Sorry? Over 65?
Over 65 is definition of elder people.
Over 65?
What age of elder?
Yes, sorry. Yes.
本当？じゃあ高齢者増加率が 80% ってこと？
1.8 増加
増加率
何ですか？何て言うんですか？
多分分かってないぞみんな。
1.8%、180% ってことです。2005年に対して2015年が。だから2倍弱増えてる。埼玉だと。
高齢者がでしょ？
はい。そうです。で関東周辺に集中している中でも高齢者が増えている。で、レアルケースです。東京北区王子町ケース。王子町elderly rate is more than 50%. Elderly rate more than 50%. Such urban is called 限界集落。
Why?
Why? Definition?
なんで限界集落なの 50%？
I did research.
じゃあ限界集落って何？
人がもう必ず行っていく集落。ちょっと調べて定義ってことですよね。
じゃあなんか限界集落わかんねえんだよ。バンクわかんないよね、限界集落って言われたんで。
何が限界？
何が限界なのかわかんないよね。
調べたら限界集落have problems. One, shortage of labor. Second, restore one of the include knowledge and lack of information. I would like to talk about shortage of labor. The proportion of workers decline against the population. This situation is called population balance against the population balance. This graph shows percentage of domestic GDP. GDP's rate shows the three major areas account for 60%, 40% other area. So labor shortage in urban areas is extremely damaging to the economy.
Sorry, in JDP has already domestic, so we don't need domestic.
Domestic. D shows domestic. ありがとうございます。Second problem. Withdrawal of the elderly. Loneliness. Survey has not been isolated in 70% of municipalities. So this is caused by loneliness, and the definition is ambiguous. Second, there is no system for collecting information. Here, loneliness is defined the cause is discovered over 2 days. 2日以上発見されてなかったら、その孤独死としてカウントすることを一応仮定して僕はこれを出します。で、男女比はこんな感じで、見つかっています。
これ何だっけ
2010年です。で、second, lack of information. Information on long-term care insurance and welfare service cannot be obtained. In particular, men tend to have to interact with others. Lack of information and loneliness is this graph. ごめんなさい、こっち特殊に書いてあります。This graph shows the rate of loneliness by sex. Men 66%. これ 66%, woman 34%. 男性の方が引きこもる確率が多くて、その情報も受け取れないし、孤独死をしてしまっている人も多い。Finally, introduction of solutions. So I'm thinking about just first, accept immigrants, investigation of changes in medical care costs. Second, disease prevention at the time of use. Investigation of the change in lifetime medical expense. ここはちょっと考えてる。Withdrawal of the elderly に対して、mutual cooperation を考えます。Design of regional mutual and organizations. So keyword is graph and knowledge. Healthy elderly people to perform the care of others. Finally, management service. Design of the concierge service that focus on QSLC. QSLC is quality of social life connection. Future. Early June. Survey of previous researches on the aging society. Clarification of the problem to be solved. Late June. Verification of the resolution process. Learning of simulation method. Early July. Determination of research topics. Reference. 以上です。
Any question or comment?
I'd like to ask you, what does lack of information mean?
Care insurance.
Lack of information?
What information?
Yeah. What does care of information means?
Care.
Lack of
elderly can't get care insurance and welfare service information.高齢者は、情報源として結構口コミっていうものを人から聞くのが一番多いっていうのがこの新聞、この日の新聞に調査としてなっていて、テレビとかで見るよりも人と関わることで情報を得るっていう結果が出ていて、引きこもってしまうと、人との接触がなくなるので、その一番情報が得られる部分が切り離されてしまうっていう問題が言われています。
日本政府。
はい、そこはこれです。セルフネグレクトと孤独死というものを孤独死に関して、で、さっきの3日以上見つかってないっていう、仮の定義もここを参考にしたもので、実際には 70% 以上の自治体でまだその正確な孤独死の定義っていうのが決められていなくて、でもそこは問題しないと、ちゃんと解決していかないとねっていう部分があるので、そう言われています。Which means 遅延って言って馴染みのないことです。Withdrawal of the elderly がソーシャルネットワークとかでコミュニティを作って、体としては遠いんですけど、そのインターネットの世界の間で人とつながっていることを感じることのできる、感じれるようにっていうものを遅延、全体的にそういう動きのことを遅延です。I'm thinking ちょっと金谷先生にもそのアドバイスをいただけるなと思っている段階で、でも一番やりたいなミューチュアルコーポレーション。Especially which partially people to perform. Young people help limit. なので、そうヘルシェルダリが共にそのミューチュアルコーポレーションに
So this is kind of a solution, right?
solution.
So what is this solution? So what's the problem that this solution solves?
This row
Not the problem is that it's about the lack of information. This problem is solved by that solution.
other solution.
By that solution, virtual corporation, this solution cannot solve the problem of that lack of information. I don't know. I don't know.
どっちも、すごく関係があるので、もう少し。
What do you think main factor of using or increasing of elderly people?
メインファクター。
高齢化が進んでる原因が一番の原因だと。
都市部に対して、都市部に対してはさっきの医療技術が担当発達都市部で発達していることと、あと1995年にその大量就職、そっちに引っ越してきた人たちが高齢の世代になっているからが、メインファクターだと思いますし、日本だと全体としてだと団塊の世代が入り出して、でポスト団塊っていう団塊の世代の子どもたちも人数が多い、そこも入り出してくる。でかつ子供は全然生まれてない、減っている状態なので、それが余計にちょっと
医療技術の差ってそんなにでかいんですね。そういうことわかんない。
ここも確かに
地方とそこの差が
調べてみます。
Now any comment? Question?
ってたその医療技術が人死ぬの方がすごいんですで全然経験から言ってなんかそうなのかなみたいなのはあるんですけどなんかそういうのって本当にすごいものなんですかね誰か知ってる人いたら
イメージとしては都心の方が複数の病院があるから
そうなん
私は
すいません
実は家内の兄が愛媛県でお医者さんをやってるんですけど、みんな東京とか都市に行っちゃうそうですね、お医者さんが。もう給料がいいからとか。で、それで医療スタッフがどんどん都市に集まってきているっていう話は聞いたことあります。直接原因かどうかわからないですけど。
何かこう住んでて医療を求めてどっか都会に出るっていう感覚が僕も地方なんですけどそんなことってあったかなっていうそんなにでかいもので
高齢者だったら医療と介護の充実っていうのが大事な暮らしやすさ大事な要素なんじゃない
直接的につながってるのかなっていうのが知らないだけなのかなっていうのは
まあそういうソリューションがあるとしてどの立場でそれを実行したりとか行政としてやるのかそれともなんかそういうビジネスを起こすのかそういう
今考えてるのはビジネス側でサービス側でですね。それだと実装可能性がまだあるっていう行政の側で考えてるなかなか動くの難しいなっていうすごい勝手なイメージが一応これで考えてるのも結構絞った地域でっていうのを考えててです。それもちょっと花谷先生と話して
そういったなんかコミュニティを作るサービスだとかの事例ってありますか？
今はちょっと変わってしまうのかもしれないですけどお風呂を活用してそのお風呂も使わなくなったお風呂をより合い所みたいな感じにしてそこでなんか集会を行ったりっていうのが、杉並区でやられています。まあ、そういうプロモデルにしたいとか、そういう感じ。それは民間です。NPO がです。
孤立死してしまう原因って何ですか？
近くにじゃなくても何かしらでつながっている人がいないということですね。助けを呼べる相手がいないっていうのがやっぱり大きい。
機械つけて歩数計とかつけて勝手に発信するみたいなのがありますよね。
はいはい。
動かなくなったら、
はい。そうですね。それに対してあんまり意識がいってなかったので、機械それに関して調べてますので、ありがとうございます。
読誌とかは震災後のなんかこう東北地方のこう分断されたコミュニティをこうどうやってつなげるかみたいな問題にもつながってくると思うので、そこら辺をちょっと調べた方がいい。
はい。
前 NHK の登録誌についてで地域でさ一人暮らしの高齢者が回っててで郵便ポストに覗いたりしてでたまったら電話連絡しててスターから連絡取れない場合は突入するっていうそういうのをやってほしい NHK でやってそういうコミュニティでやってるところは皆さんも協力してることがあると思うのでビジネスレポートに起こすとそういう利益とかそういう利益とかそういう利益とかそういう大変
その辺でしたらやはり保険会社の興味なんですよありそう保険会社の先生さっきの調査も一斉と言いますよね。
はい。
How many questions? We have no question. Finish presentation. Okay, thank you for your presentation. Next presenter is Setsu-san. Please start your presentation.
I will talk about my progress report. At the first step, I will introduce my research for science. I think for my research, maybe for every research, the first step is to clarify what you want to do. So in this part, I want to do some social investigation and data analysis from the social investigation to find the problems, what I want to research. And depending on these problems, to search some relevant studies. Actually, in the last year, I mainly talk about this part, and I introduced us a lot of papers. That papers may be helpful in my research in the future. And next, data model, analysis of model, finally, model of Fido. Actually, this is not a flow chart because when I collect the data and compile relevant study, I also study how to set a city model and how to set a SIR model.
What is .9?
What?
What
Because I think the research process can be divided into the 4 parts, and this one is the first part as a previous research, and this one in the center, the most important to the data model, and after the data model, set a scenario and the result analysis to get the result what I want to do, and finally model applies, and to judge whether this model is good or not. So after I set this research process, I will depending on this photo to talk about my programs report.
Well, to validate the model is good and bad. I think it's a validation process.
I mean this part. Yeah, but I think the verification and validation is just maybe how to say. Actually, for the model design, it really needs verification and validation. But for the model appraisal, it's just not to check whether the model is like the reality. For the model appraisal, I think the model appraisal is precise and to say from the first social investigation to the result analysis. This all the flow chart is right or wrong. Maybe not right or wrong, just to say whether it's appropriate to the reality. The verification and validation just to judge the model design, but for the model appraisal to depend to investigate all the flow. Is there any
Yeah,
question here?
not question but a comment for not you but for first grade or master's student. The process, I mean the flowchart of that is very good, but the most important things you forget is that the modeling skills. You only focus on your area about the similar research, surveying, and also the focus on your research thesis. But Professor Deguchi always said that making a model is important. Not only focus on your model.
Right.
Yeah. Did you study how to use the Java?
A little bit.
Right? So the two process is the main part, but programming skills is more important, because if you have the enough programming skills or modeling skills, you can make your own model easily.
You mean not just a source, we can use a
Yeah.
lot of programming.
But I think your background is mathematical, so you can understand well about the mathematical model. But how many agent-based model you make?
You mean for model?
I mean that you already in 1 year in here,
Why I
so
want to change the mathematical model to the agent-based model.
it's also important. But how many models how many your own model you made in this 1 year? Not only your research domain.
How many models I have set in this 1 year?
Yeah. Usually that 5 models is enough.
ソワーズだけじゃなくて、この間 Java のモドも、他の数学のモドもなんかやったこともありますし、なんか具体的に数えなんか今この1年間本当にいろいろ経験しました。具体的な数字とかあんまり覚えてない。
モデリングとプログラミングとモデリングとサーチングとインベスティゲーティングの3つの線でいかないと研究っていうのはうまくいかなくて、自分のアイデアを膨らますだけではダメだし、膨らますのと調査するだけでもダメだし、その3つを整えないとモデルを使った研究っていうのはできないので、そのバランスをうまく皆さんと取らないと
修論の1ヶ月前になって一生懸命 How to Java とか読んでる場合じゃ意味がないので時間の無駄ですから、もっと言ってしまうと、3割インベスティゲーティングに当てて、3割サーベイに当てて、3割プログラミングかモデリングに当てて、残りの1割何でしょう。いやいや、プログラミングラングエッジはインクルーディングモデリングテクニック、コンピューターリテラシー、ワードの機能とかテフの機能とかパワポの機能ですね。皆さん発表間際になって一生懸命探してますけど、ちゃんとコンピューターリテラシー身につけとかないと、例えば、if you want to submit your research to some journals, maybe there's a TEF format or Word format. Then, if there are only TEF format, what do you think? If you don't have the TEF techniques, it takes more time to finish your paper. だからワードと TEF ぐらいをちゃんと覚えておかないと。なので3331ぐらいで言ってくださいね。
Thank you. And to learn about the computer technology. So, the first part I will talk about the background. There is no doubt that the vaccination is most useful for everybody. So consider the characteristic of influenza vaccination. The function is just effective in 5 months. All the people are recommended to inoculate every year. This is the property just for the influenza vaccination. We know that every people need to get the influenza vaccination every year. And the research claims that for the 15 months to 75 months children, if 30% have get the vaccination, the infection probability decreased to the 35%. If 70% get the vaccination, the infection probability decreased to the 4%. Actually, I can't find the research because this result comes from the official news. I think the data is true.
Where does it come from?
A newspaper. Actually, there is a newspaper just from Hong Kong, and they listed every week and every month the data in Hong Kong. So before this, actually, this is just a part of the paper, and the part show that from some research we can get that the vaccination is really useful. So the government want to increase the inoculation probabilities in Hong Kong because this is the official news. So I think the data is true.
So perhaps you can include the details of the newspaper in the presentation.
Okay.
By the way, did you get the vaccination last year?
No.
You focus on that kind of thing.
Actually, this is a problem of time. You know, I determined this research topic from the last year, maybe November or December. But actually, especially for the influenza vaccination, it starts from October.
Yeah, right.
So, this is a problem time. No, I don't want to get the influenza vaccination.
But I got the vaccination on December last year.
Why?
Why? Because there is a vaccine, so I got them.
Why not October? Because I think a lot of people get the vaccination in October.
But the main season is usually in February. So and it takes about 1 month to make the vaccination get better. So maybe December is enough.
You mean December is is perfect, then
Not perfect, but enough.
okay. I'll get it in this.
Yeah, but you know that in these years that the Deguchi can have many students on the crowded area there. So if someone get influenza, then I don't know what happened.
I'm in the same case in the last year. I remember the Holy Sun gas.
Yeah, right.
And a lot of members in our line gas.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, there's two waves of seasonal influenza in winter and in early autumn. But the early and autumn is smaller curve. So the biggest curve is in the winter. So you should take the vaccination before.
Because I just remember this happens in autumn seminar.
Yeah, so there's two curves. In early autumn, there's another curve.
Yeah, maybe
Seasonal.
we should take the vaccination before the autumn seminar.
Okay. And I recommend all the members to
Yeah,
get the
right.
vaccination. Then, I this data also want to show that there is no need for everybody to take the influenza vaccination. If 70% get vaccination, the infection probability decreases to the 4%. I think the 4% is enough, maybe. And depending on the different areas, there are varieties of policies for the different government to control the supplement of vaccination. I know that although we take a lot of measures, the vaccination is also expensive and not can be widely used for every people. So my research is about how can these policies affect the reality of supplement of vaccination. So my research topic focuses on a case in Hong Kong. Where is Hong Kong? This is the the Hong Kong located in the north of China. The population is 7 million and areas 1,104 kilometers squares. We know that Hong Kong, the second largest population density in the world. So just imagine that because the high population densities, if really the influenza break out in Hong Kong, what will happen? So depending on the UK cost in 2009, Hong Kong is categorized as extreme risk of breaking out influenza because of high population densities. So I will talk about what is the reality in Hong Kong. First, the population of seasonal influenza immunization just 16%, the 31st in the world. Actually, Japan is 33%, and the most biggest England 50%. I remember. I mean that although the Hong Kong holds the second largest population density in the world, the immunization percentage just the 31st in the world. This is not balanced. And the spread period of seasonal influenza is from January to the March, a little different with Japan. And the price of the vaccines, 200 Hong Kong dollars to 350 Hong Kong dollars. Depending on its problems.
That's how many years?
How many years? I think it's better to ask Chang.
It's 2,000 to 35,000. 2,000 to 3,500. Yep. 2,000.
It's cheaper than Japan. So the data government set the two policies to control the supplement vaccination. This is CIVSS and EVSS. You can see that they put more social welfare for the adults or for the old than the children. So what is the reality? At least a table to show that the supply and result from the 2008 to 2011. You know that from the 2008 to 2009, there are 3,200,000 people, to 200,000 vaccination has been supplied to the resident, but just only 55% have been consumed. So next year, the government decreased the supplication, and so the next year, the government decreased the supplement to the 2,990,000 vaccination. But they encounter problem. This problem is a shorter vaccination. Why this happened? I think there are mainly three reasons. Because as we know that in 2009 there is a H1N1. I think many people remember this disaster. And the next is the CIVSS and EVSS has been used from the 2009. The next reason is the supply is shorter than the previous. You can see that a lot. And I don't know why in the 2010 the government still decrease the supplement. But actually in this year they get a totally different result than the previous year. A lot of vaccination has been wasted in the 2010, although they decreased the numbers.
We return to previous. Yeah, because in 2009, the 3.2 million doses of vaccine, and 75% of them has been consumed.
You mean
And
this part,
here
right?
is the 10 million people at Hong Kong.
I know.
So the percentage of vaccination is 34%.
Because I think this 16% because this data is new. So maybe this data comes from the 2011. Actually, 2011 was
just a rough calculation.
not from the 2009, but from 2011.
But I think this is very big.
Yeah, but this just happened in 5 years ago.
So it's just a rough calculation. The percentage is quite.
Maybe it's better to list the time of the
Previous slides. There is another explanation about percentage of this data. It's not the immunization produced by the vaccines. It's a kind of natural immunization rate. That those ones do not any vaccine but has natural immunization will be influenced if that possible.
But you cannot know that a person is naturally immune to.
continue. So what is the reality of the two policies? You know that this data from 2011. The first policy is just for the children. The population of children in Hong Kong is 550 is 550, but the inoculation population just 45,316. This is really, really nice. The same things as another policies for the old. It's also not a good result. But why this happened? The Hong Kong government also want to know why this happened. Why they provide the vaccination, but less people want to get vaccination. So the Hong Kong government set a questionnaire from the parents. The results show that just 62 parents think the price is also high, though using CIVSS, although the policies for the child. And still the 41 parents don't know how to use CIVSS. I think this is the problem from the government. The next one, 30 parents think their children have no need to inoculate. And still 80% parents claim the clinic nearby don't participate in the plan because the plan just used for seldom hospitals, not for all the hospitals. So such inoculation results in the transmission like this one. Because 2009 there is H1N1 in all over the world, so this you can dismiss it. And the date is based on the information recorded by the center notification official because so this data is official. I use this data want to show that the connection between the supply and demand and the really transmission is not so simple. Although the government decreased the supply in the 2011, we can see that the transmission percentage is less than the 2010. So my problem, so my research problem may focus on this part, the relationship between the transmission and the supplement of vaccination. This is the problem. How the inoculation affects the transmission of influenza virus and how to control the balance between the supply and demand of vaccination. The two problems, I will use it to the Hong Kong case. A research question is how the measures of social welfare drive the relation between the influenza vaccination market and transmission and infection in social system, and how to deal with unbalanced supplies and consumption to prevent the waste of vaccination. So in the last year, actually, in this year January, I clarify what I want to do. My research topic is that I want to set a model to solve the problem as a history. So to solve the problem, I will use the agent-based simulation. The fact of the policy depends on the people's expectation. You know that the agent-based simulation has widely used to research a problem of innovation computer, and the expectation depending on the different people. In this model, the people is the agent. So the expectation, this expectation depending on the different agents. So it's better to use the agent-based model. And ADS is a good method to examine the different strategies in the innovation process. So my model can be divided into 4 parts. This is the hood. The first, the government set a lot of policies assignment, a quarter plan, problem identification, and the policy setting. And depending on these policies, the resident to get whether they want to get inoculation. So this part, the people will decide whether access to the vaccine. Depending on the result of vaccination, depending on the result of influenza immunization, the transmission we can see in the reality. And depending on the result of transmission, the government will change their plan, especially for the supply plan, and set another policies. The model price. The first step is the market forecast. We know that in Hong Kong, before the government provide the vaccination, they must have to buy the vaccination. In the Hong Kong government, they made it from the 5 companies to buy the vaccination from the July to August, and depending on the previous data and social investigation, the next step, the government will take measures. This is the process of assessment, the setting of welfare policies and quarter plans, and determining the business plannings. The next step, influenza immunization. This depends on the decision making of the agent or the resident. And the next step, inoculation, transmission, and the supply and demand relationship. I think this 3 part is the most important part in this model. And finally, analysis the result, collect the information. The information is helpful for the next year, the market forecast. So for the, I know that the first market forecast, we need the social investigation. So for the social investigation, we want to research why why the government provide the vaccination with supplement, but the people don't want to get the inoculation. So I read a paper. This paper mainly talk about this problem from the psychology field. It shows that for getting the inoculation, there are main 3 factors affect the decision making for the person. The first is optimistic bias. Optimistic bias mean that maybe I will set an example to say that the people think I'm strong enough and I'm better than another people. I have a good health condition, so I don't need to get the vaccination. And the next one, self-efficiency. The people just don't want to get the inoculation because they believe in themselves and don't trust the society. Although the government persuade us to get the inoculation, but the people don't trust the society, so they don't want to get the inoculation. They think this is false. So depending on this paper, especially for the psychology field, I set the 2 questionnaires to collect the data. Actually, this is the process of the social investigation. And because this is the case in Hong Kong, so I use the traditional Chinese. And another one, I use English. If you, the 2 questionnaire is different. If you are interested about it, please click it and help me to complete this questionnaire. It will be really helpful and I will appreciate it.
Yeah, actually, I have tried to access the questionnaire yesterday, but the pages was not found.
Oh, what? I will check it later. Maybe it's better to set a link from my homepage, from my personal page.
I don't know. I just tried to access that. the Internet Explorer tells me that the page was not found. I don't know, perhaps there's mistakes.
Really, thank you. I will check. And for the future, at the flow chart I have said before, the next step, I will set the infection spread model depending on the city model and collect the real data and information about vaccination supply and demand in Hong Kong. Finally, design the scenario and analysis effect. So that's all. Thank you for your attention.
Any question or comment?
Do you have any ideas about how to predict the market demand?
How to predict the market. Actually, I see a series of paper and they mainly use the mathematical model. Do you know the time series model? So they use this one to predict the market. Maybe in my model this is not enough, so I will check a lot of paper and to find a better way to solve this problem of market prediction.
Any question?
No. Why shortage of vaccine is occurred?
The shortage, you mean in 2010?
Or
The shortage is just happening this year.
is it not possible to
This year.
add supply?
You mean why the shortage but the government also decreases?
If in 動的になんか売ってる最中にすげえ今年やばそうってなったら足すみたいな。
Do you know how to make the vaccine? Do you know how to make the vaccine?
How to make the vaccine?
If you know that,
I
it's
know
impossible
how
to do that kind of thing.
Because every year the WHO will.
It takes about a half month. No, half a year to make a vaccine. It's made from the egg. So you need the egg before making the vaccine. Egg. 卵。卵から作るの。
普通の卵。
鶏ですよ。鶏の卵から作るの。でそこから菌を入れて培養してワクチンにしていくんだけど、あれが生き物だから大体半年ぐらいかかるの、サプライするまで。だから動的にはできない。もうやってる最中にシーズン終わっちゃうの。
でもそれはどっかの会社が作るんですよ。なんか国が来年こんだけお願いしますみたいな感じで要求して、
それもいいんだけど、どっちでもいいんだけど、会社的にはでもその分しか作らないから、次動的に作ったって次のシーズンになっちゃうから、また別のもの作ることになってしまうから見込みでいくのよ。だから流行ると足りなくなるし、流行んないと打たない人が多いから余るの。
余っても
そう賞味期限があるから。
なんかグローバルにじゃないところに見ていこうとかっていう企業はないですか？
シーズンが違うから。
新型結構
日本は冬って乾燥してるから流行るだけで、乾燥してないとかそもそもいらないし。
ワクチンは賞味期限がそんな短い。
短い。あともっと皆さん知らないけど、今沖縄シーズンですからね、インフルエンザ。なぜか。沖縄は夏前にあるんで。The usually in Japan that the main season is January to March, but in Okinawa, maybe the June is the one of the main season. I don't know why.
ベトナムと
わかん
ト
ない。
ロピカルではインフルエンザのシーズンも違うし、なんかそれは結構違くて、
新型の時もそうでしょ。で流行ったっつったって全然回ってこなかったでしょ。それ種が足んないからどうしようもない。種から作るとこからしなきゃいけない。
マーケットを予測するのが結構難しい。
だから全員に打てばいいんだよ。一番簡単。
種類が違うと全然効かないし。
全員 100% 打つようにすれば個数は簡単に予想つくでしょ。
あ
それは説明やることだけどさ。
あ、確かに。
この前、previously, I read a newspaper in this year. The Hong Kong government don't want to buy a lot of vaccination because they don't trust the companies who produce the vaccination.
And in Japan's case, usually the hospital buy the vaccine from the company, but they can the hospital can't back the vaccine. So hospital also thinks about how many vaccines they need every year.
I have seen your question. And about the question 12, I just don't know how to answer it. How do you feel about the police? Question 9. How much do you want to receive influenza vaccination? Extremely, quite a lot, moderate, just a little, not at all. I don't know how to answer this question. How much do you need to? I mean one dose or 2 doses is good. How many doses much? So question number 9 is hard to answer.
Excuse me, actually I forgot the question and question 12. Could you repeat
Question
it?
9.
Nine.
Question number 9.
Number 9.
Yeah. How much do you want to receive influenza vaccination? And 5 option. Extremely, quite a lot, moderate, just a little, and not at all. And I think how much influenza vaccination do you take? How many times do you take? 1 dose, 2 dose, 3 dose, a year?
Sorry, it's confused.
I mean, normally people will take one dose a year.
This is
2
my
doses
mistake, sorry.
a year.
I just want to show that maybe how many percent? The first option is
Extremely.
extremely. I extremely want to take the vaccination. So
Because the maximum dose, maybe one person should take a vaccination a year is twice.
okay, I will change this question. This is my mistake, sorry.
You have no question. You go to next presentator.
I'm very curious in the first result, the previous slide. First, 30% for vaccination, 30% for 35%、30% 打つと、35% 感染して、70% 打つと 5%。Can you guess the result is obtained from statistical method or mathematical?
I think this research from the experiment. Although we know the experiment is illegal, but illegal and just not normal. You think you know that the experiment on people is not a good idea.
That is kind of statistic data, not kind of
But actually, depending on the newspaper, the image, I think is they get this data from the reality, not from the statistical.
Maybe some outside chance. And I think you can reproduce the result by simple operation model. I think this is good training for you.
I mean, maybe I can use this result to the validation.
This is macro.
And to check the model is right or wrong. To check the model is appropriate to the reality.
But I think macro result can check can use for check for only macro model.
And so just use this one to as a process of validation or verification, not use this to a model.
あくまでも多分その結果を再現するのって非常にマクロなオペレーションモデル多分簡単にできるんですけど、逆にもっと精密なモデルを作った場合にはこれだけでどう見ても完成。
データをうまく使えば、
まあ多分なんか根拠にはなると思います。で逆にまずその練習用の問いモデルとして作ってみてください。簡単にできます。それ例えば人間がグラフ、人間がエッジノードで、エッジである確率につながっているグラフを持ってて、でその感染者がそのノードのエッジを通して感染するとして、で 30% の人を消したら要するに 35% の範囲に染み込む。70% 消したら 4% だけ染み込むというオペレーションモデルですよね。
Okay, I got it. I will try.
逆に多分そのデータだけではその程度のモデルしか多分できないです。
ただ参考までにパラメータの設定とか現実と合ってるかどうかの現象とか使う。
逆にそのデータがシミュレーションから出てるデータだったら多分同じことをやってるトトロジーになる。だからそのデータが何から出てきてかって調べるのが重要だと思います。ただ数字を信じるか。
Do you have any connections with people whose domain is like public health in Hong Kong? Do you have any connections with the people whose domain is public health?
Yeah, actually I have some friends in Hong Kong and I sent an email to the public 日本の厚生労働省みたいな組織みたいな組織からメールも返事していろいろ助かったアドバイスとかデータとかも
そんなに簡単に出すの香港って
ただ具体的にはこだわりました。なんか
そりゃそうだろうね。
ただマクロのデータとか何%とかダメらしいのがある。
If you did this kind of things in the public health oversight, that you need help from the specialist. In Japan, for example, 厚生労働省。 because that you need secret data to make the model usually. So Gwen-san's case, he had a connection with the people in Vietnam's hospital. So maybe he can do his research topic. But in your case, you have only the 1 year and a half to finish your master's thesis. So I think it is better to ask Kanatani sensei to have some connections or for help. So I think that Hong Kong's case is the next step maybe, because it's hard to get the data from the Hong Kong.
Actually, I chose the Hong Kong data because that sensei told me that Hong Kong data is easy and Hong Kong has a lot of data. So I searched the Hong Kong, especially the e-government, and unexpectedly, I found a lot of data.
When he said that kind of thing.
グエンさんもあります。厚生労働省の方も見れた。海外のやつ。
金谷先生の時、斉藤先生。
斉藤先生。
いつ？
僕は覚えはない。
Then last month, I think that Professor Deguchi and Professor Saito and me had some discussion about the infection. Then in that time, Professor Deguchi said that okay, maybe the Setsu-san will ask Saito sensei or Kanatani sensei for asking some data or that kind of thing. So I didn't know that Deguchi sensei said that Hong Kong is the best case.
I really have no idea why. Actually, James Sensei told me I didn't got a lot of data from Hong Kong, so I searched the Hong Kong case.
デク先生、チャンさんとセッサイ
間違えてるよね。
それでいいガバメント。
Yeah, you know that you want to get the doctorate degree, so you need some papers, right, to get the doctorate degree, and you are in the normal course in this faculty. So and you can use Japanese, so maybe that it is better to submit your paper to Japanese journal like the Public Health Journal. So in that case, the Hong Kong's case is not so welcome. Maybe you should focus, maybe my opinion, you should focus on the Japanese case and ask Kanatani sensei for some help. I think it's better. But firstly, you should ask Deguchi sensei.
I extremely want to ask James Sensei what
Kanatani sensei has a lot of data. You need to think about Kasuga-kun's case, also Mae-kun's case. They have a lot of data from 厚生労働省.
Actually, it's so short because from the January, I start to search the Hong Kong case and depending on the advice from James Sensei, I will ask him.
Yeah, but you can change, but maybe you can change the target because you are not yet finished your first grade term. So I think in next July or August you have to present 研究構想発表会.
In this
July. So that before that, maybe first ask Deguchi sensei. That you so present about this part and also ask him about that. I said that maybe the content will help you. So ask both of things. Deguchi sensei is here today, so maybe you can ask him.
Finish Setsu-san's presentation. Thank you for your presentation.
3ヶ月に1回先生の意思確認しといた方がいいよ。ダメだ、半年はもう忘れてるから。
Next presentation by Oscar-san.
先生ワクチンのことしか言ってなくて、花谷先生と斉藤先生に任せようかんですよ。斉藤先生の方がインフルエンザをやってるから。
じゃあちょっとなんかみんなトイレとか。オスカルさんの後に自作の人たちが、発表するでいいですよ。
あ、だけどジャサグのやつは任意でいいよ。
自作の人の発表は、その任意で自由な聞くの自由っていう。ああ、いい。
So good morning, everybody. Today I will present the progress report. I've been working recently on doing I finished the paper for the post proceedings of this conference, and the deadline was on 1 month ago. So today we are expecting the final notification of acceptance of rejection. So I will talk to you about that paper, and also I've been working on a draft of my doctoral dissertation. So this is about the paper. But first, the initial point of this kind of data, when you have the price fluctuations of every single good in the economy. This is an example of one Nintendo 3DS. So it decreased a lot, right? But the thing is that you can notice that the price keeps constant for some periods of time and then it changes. And sometimes it keeps constant for quite long periods of time. And sometimes it fluctuates a lot. So what we want from this data is to analyze the length of the price spells. Well, a spell is the whole period where the price remains constant. And also the size of those price changes. So that's our starting point. So we have that data for each one of the goods in the economy, and then we can build this aggregated graph. This the hazard function, which tells us that this is the duration of the price change, and this is the probability of a price change. So what it means is, from all the goods, for instance here at 6, from all the goods that have for all the price spells that last at least 6 months, you analyze, well, which percentage of those actually finish exactly in 6 months. So you do that for each possible length duration. So this kind of data is aggregated by month, but you could do it at other frequencies like quarters or even weeks. Well, the main point about this is that this is about duration, and what you expect is that a longer price, a price that has been kept constant for a longer time, would have a higher probability of being changed. But that's not what happens. So you will expect this distribution, this probability to be increasing, but in reality, what we have from empirical data is that it is decreasing. So this is the point. The hazard function is decreasing, and this is one of the most important findings in price dynamics. And the things that this has been tested with consumer price index and with producer price index, several countries, several criteria, and they always find the same. It's quite a strong finding. And the thing is that if you compare that to the models, analytical models used to produce price dynamics, what you find is that this kind of model, Calvo staggering, predicts that this line should be completely horizontal, not decreasing. And if you have, for instance, SS strategies, which has a very strong analytical foundation, they predict that there will be a period with a lot of fluctuation and the rest will be zero. And that doesn't happen. So that means that our analytical models cannot explain this data. So that was about duration. About the size of the price change, what we have is that there is a lot of, here it is a little bit missing. The first point is that you have what is called long fat tails. That means there are some change prices that are very big, and many that are close to zero. So that also implies that this property, the kurtosis of the data is high, and this is the empirical data from this data set for the whole zero. And also, this is also difficult to replicate from analytical models. So what we did is, okay, we have an agent-based simulation model. We will introduce this aspect in the model, and this aspect is the economy has a network structure according to some analysis of absorbing directly with firms. They ask each firm, okay, how many suppliers do you have? Which are those suppliers? And the people who gather this information analyze the data, and they say, okay, the relationship between firms form a network structure, and that network structure has this topology, this scale-free network. So we want to have a simulation model where we introduce a network structure and we analyze, okay, according to this network, how does this network influence the price dynamic? Those two aspects, the hazard function, as we want to make it diffusion, and the size of the price change, the distribution of price change, and we want to be able to generate fat tails. So this is the basic considerations of the model. Basically, we focus on the decision process by individual firms, where the main contribution of the model is that it models interaction between firms. And the theoretical foundation is
Let's continue.
The theoretical foundation is monopolistic competition. Basically, what it means, actually this is a real mistake here. It means that if you set a higher price, it is written here like you have less customers, but that's not exactly true. You may have the same number of customers, but each one will buy less of your product. They will replace your product with other products that are similar. And this is what we want to explain. Decreasing time hazard function and the hyperdosis price change distribution. This is the basic structure of the model. We have three kinds of agent. The firm, that is our main agent, and we model the price decision made by them, which will profit maximize profit. So what they do is they have an internal process by which they set the price of each item. We have the customers, the household. They have some kind of way to measure welfare that we call utility function, and they want to maximize it. So they said from all the money, the income they have, they set apart for consumption, that is called the consumption budget. And they also they also provide labor, they work in the company, and so they have to set the wage at which they offer the labor. And we are interested in this agent, the central bank. He controls the amount of money in the economy, basically by setting the rate of growth of money. In the model, the money flows like this from the central bank. It is given to the government and then given to the households directly as transfer. This is a highly simplified money market model. Like a more realistic ones has banks, and the government, the central bank offers money to the banks at some interest rate to the company, and then the banks offer credits to firms or to consumers. So But you do that kind of modeling when you are modeling banks interaction and that kind of financial market. But in our case, the focus was not in the financial market, so we make this simplification. Well, this simplification is very common, many companies. And so interacts like this, like from households, the money is spent on goods according to the price of each good, and the firm gives the money back to the household as wages, salaries, and dividends. And also some firms buy goods from other firms, so the money also flows among firms. Regarding the goods of services, that firms produce goods for the households and households produce labor to the firms. This is the main point of the main aspect of this meeting. How does the firm determine its price? First, the firm is monitoring constantly external prices. These prices include first the wage index, how expensive is labor, and second, the prices of the goods that the factors that the firm wants to buy from other firms. So that is, in this model, the firm does not care directly about all the prices in the economy, like the price index, but only about the prices of the goods that this firm needs. So based on that, it generates some inflation expectations, and also the firm is affected by some external factors that here are modeled as idiosyncratic shock. This is some kind of noise that has some properties. Basically, it is auto-regressive. That's not important. Basically, some kind of noise. And based on this, the firm can estimate, given a formula, what is optimal price is. By optimal, I mean that if the firm sets a price higher than that, the firm will make more money for each sale, but there will be fewer consumers, or each consumer will consume less. So actually, it's not good. But if the firm sets a price lower than this, there will be many consumers, but they will earn too little for each one of the sales. So this optimal pricing is the intermediate point that is ideal, that maximizes profit. And then there is a price hazard function. This is important because it says here there is an optimal price for the firm, and the firm compares that price to the current price. Maybe if the difference is small, like the current price is 99 cents and the ideal price is $1, 99 yen, and the ideal price is 100 yen, the firm may say, okay, maybe it's not so good to make a change because it's too small and I have to change prices and I have to do advertisement about the new price, so okay, let's keep the old price. That's one of the possible options here of this. This is a probability function. So one option is do not update the price, and another option is, especially if the price difference is high, like the price of the factors of the labor increase a lot, so I need to increase my own price. That is the other possible option from this price hazard function. So based on that, the first make its decision to update the price or keep the old price, and then it releases cleaner and the new price to the economy. That is the basic decision process. This is the price hazard function I was talking about. I took this from another paper. This is I had a problem with this function here. How many mathematicians do we have here? So I know it's 20. Okay. So this is a 3 parameters function, right? But this has something very interesting. Which they manipulate these parameters and show that from this function you can, from some special values of the parameters, you can convert this hazard function in SS strategies or in Calvin pricing. So all other Other pricing models are actually special cases of this hazard function. That's why I choose it. And they say that it is a free function. It isn't. Actually, you can factor these parameters, and actually you have only two degrees of freedom, only two parameters in this function. Okay. Now this is a function of L. L is the loss from not updating to the new price. Basically, it's equal to the difference in price to the square. Okay. So these are some of the experimental results. And basically, first, from the base parameters of the model, we measured the hazard function. And yeah, when we had a network structure, we were able to generate decreasing hazard function. That was cool. Here is the case with no network. You just keep constant for a small period of time, and then it always produces a change after a few periods. So this was good news. That means if we have a network structure, it produces a decreasing hazard function. That was good news. Now, comparing to the data, this value where it's kind of stabilized is kind of high. Right? The real data is much smaller than this. So we say, okay, let's try to make it to fit it better to the empirical data. And first I tried changing the parameters of the other function a lot, and it didn't work. So after asking the Deguchi Lab, oh, I'm skipping up. So this is the result regarding the size of price changes. And the thing is that here for this one, the skeleton network, it generates a lot of small price changes, but none of the cases generate flat tails. That was one of the things that we wanted to generate. So no good results in this part. And regarding the value of kurtosis, actually for the case of when we have a network structure, the value of kurtosis is high, especially for the random network. This was bad results because I wanted to show, yeah, the more realistic the network, the better the results. But that was not the case. Actually, the random network fits the real value of kurtosis better. Okay, then I implemented a heterogeneous model where some of the agents I have two different specifications of the hazard function, that means two different parameters, and I changed the value of those parameters to try to fit the empirical work. What criteria did I use to choose which one has which parameter? So I assume that each firm buys from other firms, but that's not true for all the firms. There are some firms that are raw good producers, but they are not connected to any other firm. So I use those that represent producers of raw materials, and those have a different hazard function than the others. And I played with the parameters, and basically this is a hazard function stabilizes in a better value, and I generated this distribution of price changes that has fat tails. But anyway, in this case, the value of kurtosis was not as good as expected. Like, there are very few changes close to zero, and that's against the empirical data. Oh, there's another difference between this and the real data. Like, this fold here is a little bit steep compared to real data. Like, the data I had folds like this. It's more slow. So there's another difference between the experimental data and the empirical data. The simulation data and the empirical. Okay, so these are the conclusions. Basically, we built an economic simulation model of an economy to analyze the impact of network structure in the economy. And the main conclusion was that the specific type of network was not important. The important point is that the network creates heterogeneity, like some of the firms are raw good producers, some are intermediate food producers. And if you allow them to behave different, you can match the data better. So the impact is in there. It doesn't depend on the specific topology of the network, but on the heterogeneity that the network generates. Okay, that was about the paper. Any questions so far? If someone is interested, I can give you the draft of the paper. Okay. Okay. So this is the other things that I'm doing now. Basically, working on the doctoral dissertation. I have to define. This is a very big issue. I have to focus. And so basically, I'm working on the final section of the thesis. That is that so far I'm working on the micro data, but I want to test. Well, okay, now that I have a model that sort of mimics the real data, well, what are the aggregated consequences? How does the inflation as a whole influence? So this is one aspect, the doctoral dissertation, and the other is that I will start an internship soon, very soon, today or tomorrow. So I will have to work very hard.
By the way, are there any difference after our one-to-one discussion? Difference point.
In which?
Last time we have talked so much about your model, and we have pointed out some. We have given some comment about your models, like our macroeconomic connection, and also concrete networks. What kind of a concrete network do you want to construct? But we have talked so much, and you promised to update. So what's the difference today in this today?
In the model.
Yeah.
Well, the one I introduced here was the model as I sent it to the conference, ASCS.
Okay.
So this one has no new comments.
Okay. So today is so explanation for everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, so before internship, we have a little time.
Yes. Basically, one of the things that I introduced was that I have to explain better this the simplification of the financial market. So I think that I will start talking both about government and central banking model, because so far I have no government and I have the direct transfer from the central bank to the household, and that was very, very difficult to do.
Yeah, I have pointed out you should introduce government and national bond issuing process, because central bank don't give money directly to household.
So
that transfer is actually not popular. I haven't seen it in any country. So usually, national bond are issued, and the government give a subsidy to household.
So basically, that's my main concern, to work on that. So that was the end of the presentation. Thank you for listening.
Do you have any question or comment?
In your planning, when you send a journal paper,
That's a very hard question.
not hard question, you have to make a deadline.
Well, if I have,
Maybe that I think that maybe you have one or two more progress report in Deguchi Lab, maybe. So maybe the next time, oh, I finished sending the paper, then you can report the final progress report. Then you have to prepare for the final doctoral thesis presentation.
the issue is the following. Like the last half a year, 9 months, I was working on this network model, and the experimentation and the results I got, were put in this paper for the post proceedings. So I understand that the journal publication should be on a sort of different topics or different model. So what I'm doing now is to put all my papers so far in the content of the doctoral dissertation, so that I can see everything in perspective. Like I can do the outline, like model, extension line, experiments. I can see the whole, and I can see, okay, there is something missing here that is important. There is some experience that I have to do, but there is a natural extension to the model, given the other extensions that I have done. So that's what I'm working on now. I want to first have a draft of the dissertation, so that I can identify what is missing and where I can do some more research to do a publication per journal. That's the approach I'm doing now.
Anyway, so the construction of a total structure of doctor thesis is an essential, and for any doctoral candidate. So anyway, as I have pointed out the last meeting, so as soon as possible, you have to finish the total structure, and also you proceed. Maybe last time, so we discussed on some point of your model, and if you have finished that point, it is enough to post, enough to submit a journal paper as a journal paper. Yeah. So please accelerate. Okay.
You said that you will going to send a journal as about the missing point.
Basically, I do this to identify a topic.
Are there any possibilities to adapt your model to another case, like a case study or? Because that I checked your application format here, and in here there is a about the thesis contents. In here you described that your papers, but this is not this list. This is you should describe what chapter is based on what paper.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So you can describe the two papers about your drafting chapters. So I said I think that you should use your model to the case study, or you can analyze that. Maybe you add one more chapter as a case study like that. Then you can submit that kind of things to the journal. Maybe that's the easiest way of things. Maybe, I don't know that, but
I will think about it, because my knowledge is still quite abstract. So
これチャプター構成と論文のあれなので、ミッシングポイントでやるよりは、ケーススタディの方がいいかなとちょっと思ったんですけど。
Case study. Well, but as a case study, maybe special type of information can be explained in your model, like so maybe you can add some special type of network, and then so cost push inflation, like oil price increase shock, then price shock continue among networks. So, and some networks, oil consuming is not so strong, so price is not so change. Some network, so some industrial network, and oil consuming is very, very high, then price shock will continue and price change. So that kind of process, maybe you can explain your network models and hazard function models. that kind of example might be very, very important for the application of your approach. But well, anyway, for the paper, maybe last time as we have discussed, well, some missing point, maybe can be, if it is solved, maybe it might be easier to.
Maybe that it depends on the contents of your doctor thesis. Maybe you can finish that. Now you can from your draft. Maybe you can add the missing point chapter. That'd be fine, I think. So let's think about the new small point, new contents.
Anyway.
大学多分スタディノートかもしれない。
ああ、
並べる
本当だ。
申請分野が書いてない。多分エンジニアだと思うんですけど。
There are so many missing points in this document. Okay.
頑張って。
頑張って。
Thank you very much.
If you have no question, we'll finish Oscar-san's presentation.
What's your expectation of the graduation?
Well, basically, we are filling out the forms now, assuming that I will graduate in September. But to do that, I have to have a journal paper in 1 month, and that's very difficult. So I think that whatever I will finish in September, but maybe the graduation will be on March next year.
You want the Doctor of Engineering or Doctor of Science?
That's a very good question.
If you want the Doctor of Science, ask Tanuma-san. But he had the Doctor of Science, and I had the Doctor of Engineering. So maybe the doctor thesis, how to write the details is very different.
Which is the
yeah, which you want?
Oh, well, basically, I wanted to talk about that. Basically, my work had a lot of theory about economics. So I thought, from the beginning, I thought that it was about science.
Okay.
Additionally, the technical part, I mean, the simulation are not technically challenging. I mean, the code is not hard. So I thought that from the engineering point of view, the merit, there's not a new contribution to engineering. That's what I thought. So, but maybe I'm missing what's the real difference between science and engineering? And what's your opinion? You know my research, you know which one fits better in my work.
If you focus on your model, maybe your degree will be the engineering. But if you want to focus on the whole process from the surveying, definition, modeling, and analyzing, maybe your degree become the science. In doctor's engineering doctor thesis, the definition is not so important. But in science, you need a whole brief definition, then use them to your model. So you don't need, I think you don't need to describe more details about the model.
Maybe science might be better for you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, science might be better for you, for your future career. Doctor of Science might be better, I think. No? You want to engineering? Doctor of
I really don't know.
Okay, it depends on you.
So if you want to, if you find a new point, my model is very new, maybe engineering point.
Maybe, but in this case, it's not
Engineering. I think that you
explaining explanation model. So it's not
science
not control model. So maybe science. あ、
頑張って
頑張って。
ドクター・オブ・サイエンス大変だから
anyway、そうこれプリントしたやつは全部、プリント先書いてないじゃん。
ここは違うんですよ。だからチャプター1が何の出版された何に基づいていて、過失を加えて、あとは書き下ろしたやつって書かなきゃいけないので、その後で説明します。
じゃあそこはもう現役に近い人が説明してあげて。
昔の本。
Okay, so one final comment. I'm very happy that Manahan is back to the lab.
Ah,
Yay!
yeah. Thank you. Okay.
お休みでしょ。
あ、これそっちは病院行った？席か。止まった？
もうなんか
薬もらったの？それとも自然に？
she checked me なんか風邪を治りかけて。
ああ。
So she gave me some medicine. And after from Sunday I start feeling better.
Okay.
So I could sleep finally.
Okay.
I'm feeling better. まだ体が
健康維持が。はい。じゃあお疲れ様。
次のゼミの話、ネクストセミナー。
先ゼミを締めてください。
そう。次のセミナーの発表者は
そうですね。
いや、どっちでもいいです。
一応スケジュールでは
どっちでもいいです。
で五十嵐さんで。
でももう一人マスターだよね。もう来週だと思ってたんですが、やった方がいいのかな。いやいや、来週やってもいいですけど。ああ。来週やります。あ、大丈夫。チェックしてないんです。サーバーで。
ところで山岸君と小森君同行知ってる方電話してください最悪だみんな揃ったのに
撮れない。あ、今日俺が写真撮るの？
いや、2人です。
2人。
山岸君と小森君がいない。電話して小森君はすぐ2人とも30分あれば来るはずだ。
1時から教授こんなのあります。ないで今何やってる？注目してるけど。
出口先生、昨日学生課からマナハンさんが退院したってことを連絡してくださいみたいな。
あ、そう。
電話が。
はいはい。連絡してください。
なんかあと追加のなんか治療費みたいなのがあったから。
ああ、
6月6日は倉田さんに。そうですよね。はい。で、ドクターは倉田さん。マスターは小森さんと五十嵐君。
小森君やらなかった。
小森やって。
あ、もう小森君の順番なんだ。
山岸君って聞いてない。山岸君の方が近いかな。順番の時に。やってましたね、先週。
でもあれ忘れた分でしょ。だからいいんじゃないの？
まあじゃあ
そういうこと別にやんないと別に やんないならやんないでいいんじゃないですか。
じゃあそういうところで
昨日違う
麻
麻薬君です。
麻薬あれだからね、一周の状態だからね。
あ、はい。
リーチがあったら
でも相沢君がね、連チャンになる可能性もある。まだ分かんない。
金曜日までやめればプレッシャーかけてはい。じゃあ次の次はもう直すっけ
はい。
数字とかなんかその言ってると相談で数字を決める
2時でいいんじゃない？まず小森君と山岸君に電話をして、今日取るのか取らないのか、取るんだったら先生いる間に取らないといけないから。
小森さんとかだったらすぐめっちゃ
山岸君もだって溝の口だからすぐ来れるでし
俺1時から教授懇談会で会議
ょ。先生今日夜出られるんですよ。
夜俺田野先生来るっつって今日夜は
グエンさんと
グエンさんがやる
新田健です。
行ったけどね頑張ってね俺ちょっと別のあれでちょっとどうしても二言も
なんかいつも寺尾先生と山宮先生の雑談の間に
俺ももう今日参加したかったんだけどどうしようもねえ就活とかでやばい
誰？山岸君は。あの二人なんだよ。
サボり
小森君には何の連絡も来てない。いや知らない。見てないなんで。
最近見てたら
そう見てない。
雨出たの
先週のゼミじゃないですか。
先週来たよね
それ以来見てないです。
これ就職来ました
Wi-Fi 時間かからないです。
はい、じゃあ今日はなしということで。
写真はなしにして
ダメでしょだって。
そうですね
梅雨になっちゃうよ本当に。
出ない
まだ班に来てもらったのに。取っとく。
来週から田野さん所属変わるんだね
それとも取っとく。
悲しいな
取っとこうか。知らない来なかったの。
合成
じゃあ写真今から撮ってでジャサグの発表のやつやってお昼と掃除だからいいんじゃない？2時ぐらいで。
俺1時に帰るんだから写真撮んだったら1時の前でしてね次は